Hey, Ken, welcome. We're blessed by the presence of Dean again. This is totally different. Totally different night we're recording this.
It's a good thing we're hitting a doubleheader because the last episode Dean was on was a part of some of the ones that got formatted.
Oh, nuked?
Yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah, it was the book review and then Dean.
Oh, were you here for the stand?
No, it was two. There was two on there. And
really?
It was the one with him and
Damn.
Lost it was bad. I had never done that before, but I formatted a SD card before pulling episodes off. And
one day we'll have a dog-eared dialogues about the stand again.
Yeah, it's hard to saddle back up. It was like 6 hours worth of us talking about the book, and it was gone.
I don't know if it was 6 hours, but it was 2 episodes.
It was close.
Yeah,
I had that happen. I just bought a drone. I bought a Mavic Pro.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the first one. And I made it a point that I was going to get like quality drone footage of flying in as many national parks as I could.
Oh no.
Because you're not allowed to do that. And I gotten quite a few really good ones. We were in.
You want this on the podcast?
Yeah.
No one knows. It's anonymous.
All right, I'm just saying, bro. They're not messing around with the drones, bro.
Yeah. Well, this was like probably 6 years ago or so.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was a little more safe at the time. I got some really good ones in the Redwoods. I got some really good ones in Yosemite. And one of the ones I was really stoked about that wasn't a national park, but I was pretty pumped about it, was in the Salt Flats.
Mm-hmm.
And during one particular time of the year, I think it's usually March, April, they're flooded. So you've got like maybe an inch of water all the way through the Salt Flats, and it's kind of like a murky blue color.
Yeah.
And I was just hovering like half a foot above the water, just like cruising this drone, basically. But anyway, I went to go pull it off, and I accidentally formatted the SD card.
Gosh,
and it was all gone.
I accidentally did that with someone's wedding once.
Yeah.
I did it as a volunteer job.
Okay, that tops
I didn't
it.
charge him for it. It was a volunteer one. I was just going to record the footage and then send it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to edit it or anything. And then I had another wedding after that, and I was like, "Oh, format this old card." So I mixed them up, dude.
Did they ever ask you for that footage?
Oh yeah, I told them. I was like, "It's gone." And they were like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, sorry." What can I? There's nothing I could do.
Yeah,
I did use this program that you can recover some files off of it after you formatted the card.
I've tried that too.
It's called Recover It, and it's total malware, but it works to recover stuff off.
It does work, really.
Yeah. And I got like probably 2 hours of their wedding back, but there was no like audio to it.
I was going to try
to them and
do when you can mail your card in somewhere and pay them to do it. They'll basically like recover it and send it back to you.
Yeah. Anyways, dude, in the news, man, Dean, you've been a little bit out of it. You just got back from a trip from Jamaica, but there's a lot of crazy stuff going on with essentially shootings in the last week. There was the shooting at Brown University, and then there was the Pakistani shooters down in Australia on Bondi Beach. And
let's break these down one at a time.
Yeah, so
just for a good refresher.
The Brown one, I think they happened on the same day.
Yeah, I think they did. Or they were back-to-back days, but one of the two.
So Brown University is in Rhode Island, I believe. Providence, Rhode Island. And so this shooting occurred on campus. And the details, as best as I understand them, is that there was an individual that essentially came onto campus. Could be a student, might not be a student. But they immediately beelined to the library where there was this conservative group. It's the one conservative group on Brown University that's like an approved student group. And he went onto campus, and I'm saying it could be a she, but statistically it's a guy. And he went to that group and pulled out his gun and shot the leader of the group. And shot her in the face and killed her, and shot another student. And I don't know if he shot another 9 or if the other 9 were injured in like the chaos of it, but it was essentially an assassination of Ella Cook. And Ella Cook was this, student leader of this conservative group. She had been outspoken on campus about her beliefs, very kind of like, turning point esque, kind of like welcoming debates and conversations on campus to have, discussing like political topics. But she was 19 and a sophomore.
Thanks.
And it was clearly a targeted attack against her in this student group, because he didn't attack anyone else. After he did this, he ran off. But someone has been doing an analysis of his gait, and we can use machine learning models. And there's a pretty good match between this individual and another one who was present at a couple of the protests and stuff around Brown University about like Free Palestine and stuff like that. And so they think, some people who, these aren't police, these are just people in their spare time doing these analyses and going over footage. But there's quite a few people who think they might have been able to zero in on like the suspect and who they are. But this crazy thing is that Brown University, and this was in an interview with the police department, a reporter asked this question, but Brown University has the most cameras of any like building in like, or any property in Rhode Island. So there should be no shortage of footage, and they've only released a few. And most of the footage that's actually out there is of the suspect walking in front of homes with like Ring doorbell cameras and stuff. And so a lot of people are like, it's just not passing the sniff test. Like it feels like the university is really sweeping it and just like, oh yeah, we don't know where they are or who they are, and we have no suspects at this time. And they're not releasing any more footage. They keep like, people like are asking them like, do you have more footage? And they're like, we're only releasing what we've released. It's like, what? So you do have more footage, but like, why aren't you letting us see it? Like someone might be able to identify this individual. It's a pretty crazy thing, man. And there's like suspicion that like the individual's related to someone on, the board for the school and stuff. And that there's like a lot of political kind of damage control.
Yeah, it is Brown University.
Yeah, and so it's overall just a tragic thing and very sad, but it is not what we would characterize as like a typical school shooting. Most school shootings do not have specific individuals targeted or specific groups. Like the shooter goes on to the campus to cause as much harm as possible before they're taken out.
And I did hear the term mass shooter or shooting getting passed around in relation to this, which really does a disservice to when that actually does happen.
Like when it is a targeted attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I'm like, in this case, I'm like,
this is an active, not necessarily an active shooter.
Yeah.
It's like, where you're saying it's not random, they didn't just go somewhere random and start spraying bullets.
Right. Right. This isn't a mass shooting. Like this is a murder, like a targeted murder.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
On campus.
Yeah. Well, and in contrast to what we are calling a terror attack in Australia.
Right.
This is a terror attack. Those people, the two shooters in Australia were targeting Jews. They were targeting Jews on the first day of Hanukkah. This person was targeting the conservative student group and specifically didn't want to give away what their intentions were until they had killed the leader of that group.
And this is in where the student was shot. Was this in like the library?
Yeah, it was in the library. Which you and I mean, all three of us went to the same university. I mean, how many cameras are in the library? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way you wouldn't have
the place to have cameras in the school.
Yeah. And it was crazy. I watched the footage. It could have been straight out of the university we went to. Like the library looks one for one, the same kind of building. I don't know if Brown University is a state-funded school like ours was. A lot of the state-funded schools have the same architecture and design, and like, you know, their libraries have that same kind of like brutalist concrete architecture, right? And so, but part of me is just like scratching my head still here at like, how can they not have any clue as to who the suspect is yet?
Right.
Especially if it's someone, which we're seeing here, where they're likely someone who's been around Brown University for a number of years and partaking in these other events. But again, it's political. They don't want to say it was an assassination and a targeted attack, because then that turns it into a terror thing. And then now you have on your university's record a terror attack occurring on campus.
Right.
So all that said, it's a sad thing. I don't know if you guys have thoughts or comments from like anything else you've pulled up in reference to it before we move on to the other one. But yeah, there's like this gait analysis program that an individual's released where it's studying like stride length, cadence, and when you see the person they're matching it to, you're like, damn, that is the same build. Could be a woman. I think it's hard to tell if this other individual, because the mask is off and they're wearing a keffiyeh around their neck. But it could be a female as well. It's hard to tell.
Some people are speculating like trans stuff, but that,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I don't want to just always go with like the classic trans boogeyman.
And I don't, from me looking at it, I don't necessarily see that. You know, I mean, it's a person super covered up.
Yeah.
And the, I was looking at the video of this guy. Yeah. What did the gait analysis say? Have they connected it to somebody?
Smoke break.
Smoke break.
Hey, Ken, it's Mick, and I've got something important to talk about. We all hope we never find ourselves in a self-defense situation, but life's unpredictable. Enter the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer, an actual credible law firm you can put on retainer for your self-defense needs. For just $35 a month, you get national coverage in all 50 states for criminal and civil legal representation in self-defense situations, complete with a 24/7, 365 toll-free emergency line. That's real legal support when you need it most. What's in the package? Bail bonds, scene cleanup, firearm replacement, even mental health counseling. Plus, 0 fees for a laundry list of defense-related costs like expert witnesses. So support the show and get yourself some peace of mind. Click the link in our show notes or visit our sponsors page to sign up for the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer.
Hey folks, Pat here. If you're like Mick and I, you're a fan of classic tales like Lonesome Dove, Blood Meridian, The Three-Body Problem, and Steinbeck's East of Eden. With Audible, you can dive into these epic stories anytime, anywhere. Sign up for a free month, and your first audiobook is on the house. To start your free trial and support our show, click the link in the show notes or swing by the sponsors page on our website.
Want an awesome website for your podcast? Check out Podpage. We use it for the Mick and Pat show, and it's a game changer. Set it up in minutes, no coding needed. Support the show by using our link to get started. Your podcast deserves a home as great as ours. Podpage, the one-stop solution. Yeah, I believe it's this individual known. I'm just making sure I don't want to just drop names and bring attention, but they say it's a 97.8 match with Mustafa Karbouche. And the suspect has been scrubbed from Brown University and its websites. Brown University has released a statement condemning Mustafa as a suspect and like saying like this isn't valid. And yeah, the narrative is like Mustafa is a third-year undergraduate. Use the pronouns they, he.
Third-generation Palestinian refugee.
So it's like it's again like a very like politically charged thing, but what we're looking at here looks to be a lot like I would say an emboldened assassination. So we'll see how that plays out. Again, it's a sad thing. I just don't know. Like, I don't want to be alarmist. I'm an anti-doomerism, but I'm also like, hey, like, I don't give a damn if your campus says you're not allowed to carry. Like, might as well carry.
Right.
And like,
well, I mean, technically speaking, the worst thing that can happen to you is you get charged with trespassing.
Sure. I don't even care if I got charged with like a federal thing.
Mm-hmm.
If it's me and my friends are alive, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it is and I'm not saying that like, you know, any of these victims should feel like any sense of guilt that they weren't carrying. But if we're living in a day and age where people are getting emboldened to like go onto campuses and execute targeted attacks, then like, you know, definitely in my eyes, the value of, okay, I could possibly be punished and charged with carrying this firearm in a place where it's not allowed. Mm-hmm. That's a lot less of a consequence than seeing people murdered in front of me.
Yeah.
So the Bondi shooting, though, this one's sad. Mm-hmm. It also has a lot of kind of politically charged stuff around it. So the shooters were father and son, Pakistani immigrants to Australia, and they were specifically targeting Jews. The firearms they had are legal firearms in Australia to be purchased if you have a firearms license.
I didn't even know you could purchase firearms in Australia.
Yeah, you could purchase them. The license program is pretty strict, and you have to have like justification for them, like protecting livestock or
trapping skeet clubs and things too. You can get it for that.
Hunting. A big one is culling. A lot like
really?
There's like actual guys who are paid by this like the state gov of you know different. They're not called states, territories in Australia, and they're paid to go out and kill camels because camels are non-native to Australia, but they are a pest in a lot of Australia. And some guys' whole jobs are to drive out and to the outback of Australia and just shoot and kill as many camels as they can in a day.
That's crazy.
It's all. There's a YouTuber who just throws all the footage of it, and bro, he is just like, it's insane. He's John Wicking these camels, and it's one of the most. He's also anti-civilian owning guns, so he's kind of a douche. But he has a pretty insane footage of him just like running through the outback desert, just shooting camels point blank, and just like in the middle of the herd shooting them.
Yeah.
But anyway, so these shooters, if I understand correctly, they as immigrants, they don't qualify to have a firearms license. Now, that's what I've heard and read.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with Australia law, so that could be incorrect. But technically, if they had these licenses legally and the system didn't fail, then they purchased them, and they were, you know, they were purchased legally. But the crazy thing is, this just goes to show people like this was Australia's Uvalde.
Yeah.
The police in Australia are armed. It's not like the UK where they don't have guns on them. And so there's footage here. You can look up pictures and screenshots of the footage where police are cowering behind vehicles.
Seriously.
For over 30 minutes. They were there for over 30 minutes just hiding while these two were going around shooting people. And two of the people murdered. I don't think the other guy's died of his injuries. I think he's recovering.
Yeah, he's shot in the arm.
Two of the people murdered were an elderly couple in their 60s and 70s that were on their way back to the car, saw the shooter, stopped, and like wrestled the gun away from him before he drew another gun and shot and killed them both.
What were the firearms?
Shotguns, bolt actions, and then a handgun, I believe.
Okay.
But so these two 60, 70-year-old geriatric people like actually disarmed one of the shooters.
Yeah.
And the thing is also, though, like in a culture where they don't have any right to self-defense, they didn't shoot the shooter.
Yeah.
Even as the shooter was drawing another gun to shoot them, they didn't shoot him. And then the other individual, which to his credit I believe he was an Afghanistan immigrant. Or was he a Pakistani immigrant as well?
Maybe it was Middle Eastern.
He wrestled another gun away from, what was it, Pat? The father.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrestled the gun away, but then after he wrestled it away, he just sat it down. And then
the guy ran away.
The guy ran away and got another gun out of the trunk and kept shooting.
Gosh.
And he could have shot him and ended the fight there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one of those things where, like, we see a culture here who, one, knows that their government is going to see them as a culprit for defending themselves, and two, has not been emboldened to essentially, like, take action and protect themselves and take life if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing is, like, their culture that can't rely on their police to defend them and protect them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. I do think this is a result, and this is where you could, like, go tit for tat with, like, Uvalde as, like, a counterexample if you want to be devil's advocate. But I do think this is a result of the way policing is done in other countries versus the U.S. The U.S. is actually pretty unique when it comes to policing, in that the police are agents of local governments first before racketing up into, like, state government and then federal government. So, like, our federal policing organization in the U.S. you would say is the FBI, or perhaps the ATF or DEA,
like marshals
even. Yeah. Those are federal police officers, federal law enforcement, actually, right? We don't call them police officers, but they are not who we're expecting to show up to a mass shooting, right? Our expectation is that my local city police, which are police,
sheriffs
or sheriff department, which are people belonging to my community
and live in the community,
will arrive, and they want to protect the community. They're invested in it. Maybe you have a state trooper showing up to an incident like this and acting, and he might not be from your community, but he's a state trooper and he lives in your state, and he might live within 40, 50 miles of you. But I don't think anyone in America really has this expectation of, like, the FBI showing up to save you if there's an assault or something happening, right? The policing in, I would say, the nations of the crown. So we see, like, New Zealand, England, Australia. The police officers aren't actually from most of the areas they're assigned. They enroll in the police agencies and they get stationed like you would in the military, or like you would as a federal officer, law enforcement officer in the U.S. So, like, you would enroll in the FBI, and then after you graduate, you get your assignment of where you're going in the U.S. And that's essentially how local policing at the lowest level works in a lot of these nations. And so you have police who are not invested in protecting their communities because this community is like a post, and they view it the same way and treat it the same way like you would if you were in the military. You're like, I'm not dying for these people. Like, I hardly know any of these people.
Yeah,
I'm here to make sure the people of this community follow the law. And it's a tragic thing because it's not just seen like in in Australia, but like many times in the UK, like the police failed to take action to stop violence and aggressors. And a lot of people like think it's psychologically connected to like a lack of investment of like accountability to the people they're policing.
Yeah, in the UK, their violence looks it's actually pretty heightened. I don't really know what violence looks like in Australia. Their crime rates,
rape is really high. I actually was trying to do a report on it recently.
Really?
Yeah, their rape is like way higher than a lot of other nations. But yeah, you're right. Like murder with like firearms, like deaths by firearms, relatively low.
And so, my curiosity is like in a nation like Australia, are the police just genuinely very unprepared because it doesn't happen often?
Yeah,
they go to work every day really not thinking they're going to encounter anything dangerous at all, and ultimately when it does happen, psychologically they're not prepared at all.
Yeah, I don't think they are. I think that's an issue too, right? Is like, how can you have faith in your nation to protect you after disarming you when they are not trained and prepared to protect you and act in that way? Like if you're going to disarm your population, then you need to be willing to step in for your population in defense of their life.
I'm actually pretty surprised that in Australia, this isn't currently being swept under the rug, because like there's a lot of controversy around them de-arming the population to begin with.
It's actually being re-emphasized.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the fact that they legally attained the weapons
Mhm.
is going to basically give validation to, okay, we got to make these rules even stricter.
Yeah, we got to go further.
Right. So, and they actually have already, I have an article pulled right here that they are actually like, they have already announced stricter gun laws, and they're already almost like enacting them. Like they're moving it fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially what New Zealand did too after the Christchurch shooting.
Mhm.
Again, that was if I
When
remember
was that?
correctly, it was a radical Islamist started shooting people outside of a Jewish temple. Or no,
Mhm.
I think I have that wrong. I think it was someone targeting Muslims.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it was someone targeting Muslims with like a double barrel shotgun. It started shooting people outside of a what is it called? Muslims go to, not a temple,
Mosque.
and they like made it much more stricter and harsher to get a firearm after that. And I think even like certain shotguns after that could fire buckshot and stuff like were completely banned. So
I have a friend in Australia that I've not thoroughly, but kind of begun. It's mostly a business relationship, but he's said a few things that make me want to pry a little bit harder on just the general opinion of Australians and what they're experiencing there. Because we kind of look at immigration as being a very U.S. issue because that's the bubble that we're in. But 10 years ago, immigration was a really big topic of conversation in Europe, right? Because they were having a lot of attacks, a lot of people, refugees coming from other countries, and ultimately, like with that, people coming along with the anticipation of planning attacks. In Australia, apparently also has a pretty big immigration debacle going on right now as well, one that we're not really aware of, nor am I. But it was kind of an interesting talk because he was seemingly kind of bitter about it. And
I know several people in England right now that are like friends of ours that are very now anti-immigration, and they were like very liberal in college.
Yeah.
And now in England, living there, it's seeing what's happening there with a lot of the immigrants and the attacks.
Yeah, in UK and in England, it's kind of on another level actually than really anywhere else. Like it's pretty wild. So, but in a place that's generally also the violence rate in Austria or in UK and England is actually really high.
Yeah.
In Australia though, comparatively, probably much lower. But I'd be curious. I'll have to pick his brain and just see what his thoughts are on it. But this is a global topic of conversation. Immigration is it's everywhere, and it's pretty fascinating that it happened globally within like a 1 decade period of time, that all countries across the world would start having a lot of resistance and encouragement to immigration with the nations, and be causing a lot of issues. It's pretty, maybe not coincidental, maybe coincidental, it's hard to say, but pretty interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, I think the tolerance is really going down because of it would be different if we saw across these different nations a few different things. One is a program of re-education. Like if you're going to live in the UK, you're going to become English. You're going to become English.
Yeah.
And that's a requirement. Your culture needs, you're going to give up some parts of your culture to be a member of this culture. And then the other thing I think is when people don't comply and people, bring violence to this nation as an immigrant, that the government would then punish them and remove them. And I think that those two things because there isn't that, like that's not existing across a lot of these nations where we see a backlash to immigration, they're like the government's losing all support of the people for it. And I say it because I remember being in Norway, and in Norway when I was there, doing mission work, we were teaching immigrants English because the expectation is that the immigrants would learn Norwegian and English within like a year to continue the asylum process and immigrant process. And then they had to go through classes where it was like, in Norway, you will be Norwegian. And like, you aren't allowed to essentially carry out like the laws of Islam. Like those are against, like these are against the law in Norway. And if you try to stone your wife or daughter, like you will be punished and you will be imprisoned here, or you will be sent back. And I remember it was very strict at the time I was there. This was back in like 2016. And it was an incredibly strict thing. And like there was people there that I had talked to who had like family members or other people who had come over with them who had been kicked out already. And there was a lot of success stories. Like a lot of people I met who were like from like Ethiopia, Eritrea, Nigeria, Somalia, and Iraq. There was a guy in the Christian church who was Iraqi and became a believer when he came to Norway. And all of these people who were really successful, they're like, yeah, I'm from Eritrea. My heritage is Ethiopian. My heritage is Nigerian, but I'm Norwegian. This is the culture. These are the values. I'm happy to be here. Yeah. And like those are the ones who were like crushing it. And they had their own apartments that they were no longer getting, like the state wasn't paying for anymore. They had their own jobs and incomes. That their family was invested in the community. They had ties outside of their own like immigrant culture. And the people who were really struggling were the ones who had no interest, and they were just there to like live off of, the state's benefits for as long as they could before they got kicked out.
Yeah.
And those programs were seen as essentially like they were seen as racist and like, backwards in the US, the UK, Australia, New Zealand. And so those programs like don't exist today. Like there is not a program that tells you like to immigrate here or to continue with your asylum here, you need to like go through these classes and pass the values essentially in the tests that say like you're an American, you're English, you're Australian. And this is the culture now.
Well, I mean, our own schools don't even really do that anymore.
No, dude, I know a lot of people.
It's seen as a vile thing to do. Like, it's like you'd probably you could probably lose your job for like,
I know teachers in Denver who have been told that they will be fired if they flunk elementary students that don't know English.
Oh, wow.
They have been told like you will be let go, and we will have there's other teachers that we can employ. There's other people who want to be a teacher here that we can employ who will be more successful than you. And I know of a teacher who she said like a third of her class doesn't know English, and they are second graders, and they're mostly from Mexico or other like South American countries, and they don't speak English. They can't read. They don't understand what she's saying. They just sit. It's like daycare all day.
Yeah.
And she's not at like a poor inner city school. You know what I mean? Like she's at a pretty nice like public school, and they're being just told like, yeah, you need to pass them. You need to move them up. And it's like,
the only way is forward.
Like they don't learn anything. They're not learning anymore. And it's just going to create more hostility between them and us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And on like a much, that makes this sound a lot like worse, but I'm thinking like things like when you come out of high school, like, what the Bill of Rights is. And most people don't know what that even is.
Yeah, I would say most Americans don't even know what that is.
Right. Or like, have you read the preamble ever in your life? Like we sang that in Schoolhouse Rock, you know?
Dude.
Like, but people don't know what that is anymore.
A lot of schools don't do the pledge at all.
Right. Right.
Like that's crazy. I did the Pledge of Allegiance every day through
Until
graduation.
I graduated. Yeah.
And they like, there's kids I know now that like have never done it. They don't even know the Pledge of Allegiance by heart.
Right.
And that's what I was saying before. Like, where if a teacher wanted to push that in their class, Like, hey, good morning. Like, even if, like, hey, you don't have to if you don't want to, but we're going to say the pledge this morning. Like, you probably get reprimanded. In certain schools, you know. Like,
You're creating an unsafe environment.
The thing that is interesting to me is that there is this overwhelming tie to an assumption that American culture equals a race, and that just is not true at all.
Yeah.
You know, like
true.
there are people all across the world that their culture and their race are completely different, and they could be the same, or like their culture is completely different and their skin color can be the same. Like American culture is not a race. Saying the Pledge of Allegiance has nothing to do with like your race, or really even like at one point in time, like your religion, right? It was just something that you did if you were an American, a person living in the United States. That like you came in, you're like, hey, these things are our basic rules. Like these are your rights. This is what you are allowed to do now that you're here. Like you are entitled to these things.
And even that, like, and there's like a thing to be said about I'd say like white people aren't allowed to have a culture.
Sure.
In some way, like if someone was like, this is part of my like Asian culture. This is part of my black culture. If you're like, this is part of my white culture, they're like, oh, that felt different.
Ooh.
Right? Didn't that just feel different all of a sudden? Right? Like it's like,
no,
take that back home.
You know,
no,
but it's a weird thing where it's like, okay, so how does this?
You have to say this is part of my Anglo-Saxon culture,
right? Or whatever. Yeah. And so it's just like there's
a lot more connotation of like oppression when you say that.
Oh yeah.
Right. Which, like, one, I don't care, but two, I also understand. Like, I understand like the argument of like, well, like that when you say that like that, it makes it sound like I have to assimilate or I don't have a choice. But that's the thing is like, like that is the way it is in a lot of the Anglo world. Like you go to almost any of the Scandinavian countries outside of like Sweden, or well, I guess Finland actually was just in the news for some pretty bad immigrant violence, but like the Dutch, like especially like in Amsterdam, not Amsterdam, what's the nation that Amsterdam rolls into? Help me out. Why am I forgetting? Oh yeah, our map up there on the wall. Can you guys help me?
Can you read?
You guys, I can't see. It's too tiny on the map.
I don't know what it is.
I'll tell you.
Okay, all right. 1 second.
Sorry.
The Netherlands. The Netherlands, and then there's another one to the north with the D. Gosh, I was only
Denmark.
Denmark, yeah. Those two Dutch nations, as well as Norway and Switzerland, have like insanely harsh immigration policies and like asylum policies. And like a big thing right now that like the EU is like cranking on the Netherlands for, it was like how they aren't accepting immigrants and like they're kicking a bunch of them out. And it's interesting because also the Netherlands is the country that the rest of Europe says is the most American. Like it has the most American culture. And Australia and New Zealand are also as well, like those aren't races. You would say like English you could say technically is a race, but English is more like a culture, right? And the race is like Anglo-Saxon. It's the Anglo race, but like culturally, Australia, New Zealand, and America don't have English culture because all those nations were started off through like essentially an immigration and integration with a native population there, right? And so like Australia was a prison colony. There is no Australian like race or culture. There is a immigrant culture that came out of Australia going from a prison nation into a like essentially serfdom nation that then got its own independence from England. But we wouldn't like, would we say our culture is English? No, I think America has its own culture. There's the American culture. Australian has its own culture. Same with New Zealand, right? But like the UK is so government-wise, so afraid to like follow through the example of these other like European nations that are much more strict with assimilation, that they don't want to like acknowledge like there is a culture. And that's the reason the UK has insane marches right now of like 300,000 people in London saying like, kick these immigrants out. Like we shouldn't be paying for them to have free housing and free benefits with our taxes anymore when the rest of us are struggling.
The division gets bigger and bigger and bigger ultimately.
And that's what I'm saying though, is like of all the nations, England, I think, is going to suffer the worst.
Yeah.
Because the English in England believe they have a culture. And they're saying like, we have this culture. It's the culture that's been here since we were Picts and barbarians that fought the Romans. And that is what we're holding on to. And we don't like these people coming in, and we don't like them murdering. We don't like them raping and not getting any consequences, and our government not doing anything about it, acknowledging it. I do think it's different where we live in like America, because you can't say like America hasn't been around long. The American culture is different. It has values that come from like its English heritage, right? But like, I do think America, especially when you see these people who are like on the ground in cities asking it and across different cities in the U.S., like, how do you feel about immigration and stuff like that? I think you can say like there is an American culture retaliating, because it's not. I'll tell you, some of the best stuff is like dudes walking around New York asking black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. And they're like, hey, how do you feel about these immigrants? And they're all like, get them out. Get them out. They're ruining New York.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, contrary to like popular belief, like I'm not anti-immigration, right? Like recently.
I don't know if anyone thinks that's a popular belief for you. I'm just kidding.
Sure. I recently saw like Trump had said something about the HP1 visas, and he caught a ton of backlash for that, like a lot, for him saying that they were going to bring people in that they believe are likely
best and brightest.
Yeah, better with technology, smarter people. And people really took offense to that, and they don't like it. And to me, I personally think it's ridiculous to assume.
He took a lot of time from his shithole country remark. Like he waited like 10 years and then said it like a little bit better.
Yeah, literally. But what's kind of baffling to me is how I generally think most people are in the middle, but when it comes to immigration, it's very divisive. I saw these. It was on my YouTube. It was like an occasional post that popped up from some creator. I think it was rage bait, honestly, is what it was. But I end up hiding it because I was like, this drives me nuts seeing this. But it was basically like, it wasn't even true. It said like, administration's looking to reenact the Muslim ban. What are your thoughts on this? First of all, Muslim ban wasn't really ever a thing. It was like a 90-day pause on immigration from a lot of countries, and only maybe 2 of them were in the Middle East for starters. But I looked in the comments of this. I was like, dude, this is gonna be crazy. And there were some foul things in there.
Oh yeah.
Like there were a lot of people in there that were like, kick them out for good. This should have happened after 9/11. Don't let a single one of them in here. You know, like just like stuff. I'm like, people actually really do believe this, and like the division has been made bigger because of this. But the reality is like there is a middle ground in there somewhere. And you'd mention, but what ends up happening is when you tell a country of people that they're basically dirt bags, and that like they start to adopt a culture that wasn't really supposed to be race related in the first place. Like when we were growing up, everybody and their frickin' mom had an Old Navy shirt. People were just wearing American flags on everything because it was just a flag, you know?
It didn't mean like you were like into your grunt style t-shirts and your ARs.
Right. But now if you see somebody with a grunt style t-shirt with like an American flag on the sleeve, like you make an assumption, like you're like, okay, this person's probably like pro 2A. Like you build up this characteristic and you will never ever see somebody on the left wearing an American flag.
Oh, I mean,
right.
It's like when I go to people's houses all the time to do an estimate, to do work on their house. I have an American flag patch hat that I like to wear a lot. Guess what? There's certain houses I put a different hat on when I go in there.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I know it's going to...
Because when you see the sign out front, this house stands for...
Yep. Yeah.
This house believes in love, believes in science.
When a couple different factors add up as you roll up, it's like, I throw on my other hat. I walk in there, because I know that it's going to be misinterpreted.
Right.
And or probably or judged based off of that, for the business,
And the unfortunate thing is that when you push people to the fringes, like any sort of pride in just where you live will become the culture of the fringe that is feeling secluded from the mass, right? When I go to Germany, I tend to kind of ask a lot of Holocaust questions. I'm trying to get the feel of
oh man,
what do people think there? What do you learn in school? What are your opinions on this? What are your opinions on your government now? What are your opinions on the fact that you guys don't have a military at all, and you've never been allowed to, right? Because there's so much honestly embedded in their genome, through history that changes the way that they think. Germans think, act, and respond in a very particular way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And that's ingrained in them. It truly is ingrained in them. And I'd ask them okay, what do you think about the German flag? And a lot of people that aren't on the older end say yeah, you don't have German flags on stuff. No one,
unless it's a sports team. It's got to be a soccer team.
Sure. But you don't, similarly to people in the US, but honestly maybe more extreme, if you're seen with a German flag, you're viewed as basically being a far right, neo-Nazi, essentially. It's seemingly kind of frowned upon. But that is the culture that has been created. And now we live in a state where your freaking Old Navy flip-flops that have an American flag on them say more about what you're doing than they ever have, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But people are being pushed to the fringes. I think it's intentional, but people are being pushed to the fringes.
Yeah, and I think, how can you not be? We talked about, I think, on a episode a couple weeks ago. But there's this example. It was either Finland or Sweden, but a girl under, a child was raped by an immigrant who was there seeking asylum. And he was let go because they said the rape didn't last long enough. How do you not get radicalized by that? If you're that girl's family, how do you not get radicalized by it? There was a woman in I can't remember if it was England or Germany. She was raped, and then in a message to her friends, a chat message, she said, she was calling her rapist names. She said he's a faggot, stuff like that, which I get is an inflammatory word. But that's a crime now. And now she got sentenced for calling her rapist names. And he has not been sentenced. He was released.
And sorry, which country was this in?
I can't remember if it was England or Germany.
But, okay, not here. Okay.
I actually saw I saw a story of a guy not too long ago that he came and visited the U.S. and he went to a gun range and somebody here was letting him shoot guns and showing him around. And they had some videos of him and he posted it to his social media. He was arrested when he went back to England for shooting guns here.
It's funny you said. I just got an email 2 weeks ago.
Was he arrested? Or did he get fired?
No, he was charged.
He was charged because
there was a crime.
There was like a CEO also who got like fired. Maybe it was the same guy. Maybe he got fired and charged.
At our local range last year, I went and there was a guy letting his friend from France and his kid try out guns and shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
They were here visiting, and I let them shoot my AR and stuff, and I taught them how to kind of properly use it and hold it and how the gun works. And we recorded it, and it was fun. They sent me the footage they took and pictures, and I was going to make a video of it, of just kind of like a little like a day at the range.
Mm-hmm.
I got an email a couple weeks ago asking if I still had that footage and if I would delete it.
No way.
Yeah, because they were afraid that like they would face consequences in France for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Yeah. And so it's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, people are getting in England and the UK, people are getting their doors kicked in for the things that they're saying online.
Yeah, which is a nightmare. There's a really good video though. It is, I believe Micah Mayfield put it up. He had a guy from Australia, the UK.
I thought it was Charlie.
Maybe it was Charlie. Yeah, he had Charlie Cox. He had, but there were three people from, I think it was the UK, Australia, and
Canada.
maybe Canada. Yeah, and they were all masked up for the video, and they needed to remain anonymous because they could face consequences for shooting these guns in the U.S. Which is insane, dude. That's outlandish. It's a police state for sure, and they're policing their own people more than they're policing the population coming in that doesn't hold the same culture and values.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, you're gonna find backlash at that. One of the best videos I saw recently was an interview. I think it was, I don't know what news organization was doing it, but they sat down with a like former leader of the Taliban, and he was talking about why Muslims always vote Democratic.
Oh, it's because they're soft on crime.
Because they're soft on crime and they're going to give out the benefits, and they're not expecting them to change their ways.
Yeah.
And that they will always vote for Democratic people in their local government all the way up to the federal government, because as long as they do that, they know they're going to still receive their benefits. Which kind of makes me want to talk about the Somali scam. Have you guys heard about the Somali scam with Tim Waltz in Minnesota?
Mm-hmm.
No, what is this?
This is crazy.
It's a pretty big deal.
So this video is a good transition. This is a Somali man here in the U.S. Listen to what he's saying here. This is a TikTok he recorded of himself.
I've heard this.
Yeah, he's living off of the benefits here. He doesn't work at all.
This is hard to hear.
He calls us white animals, and we need to go to work for him so he can keep getting the tax dollars to pay for all of his benefits.
You work, you don't got shit. Thank you for working so hard so I can be home all day, free. I can use my EBT. Go to work for me, white boy, white girl. Yeah, go to work. You work. You don't
the
got
caption
shit.
is, "You work for me, you white
Thank
animals."
You for working so hard.
So that as a segue here, Somalis in Minnesota have the highest rate of autism in U.S. history.
What?
Almost every Somali family has someone in their household diagnosed with autism.
Oh yeah, okay. I got friends. Not a friend. I know someone who got this for all like 12 of her children.
They receive state funding
Mm-hmm.
support for their child with autism. And these Somali families now have been, with an audit of where the money's going, it turns out they're sending the money back to the, what is that Muslim extremist group in Somalia?
Not Al-Shabaab, but
Al-Shabaab, yeah.
It's not Al-Shabaab, it's someone else. I'll look it up.
But the money has been being funneled to them, and it's over like several $1 billion has been sent back to Somalia out of the U.S. economy from the autism funding that has gone through Minnesota. And apparently Tim Waltz, there's a lot of investigations now on him. He might actually go to jail for treason, because it seems like pretty conclusive that he turned a blind eye to this, and it might have taken bribes to allow this to go on in Minnesota. And it explains like Minnesota's super high Somali population. And like there was no one doing checks and balances over it. No one was actually like investigating the autism diagnosis if like these families actually had someone with autism. They were just approving it for whoever they said was in their household, and they were getting the money the next day, right? And so we've been sending $1 billion over the course of a few years to
it is,
the Somali
it is
terrorist group.
Al-Shabaab. Yeah, it is Al-Shabaab.
I honestly thought it was a lot more than that.
I'll look at that's an insane amount of money for a medical benefit program to be handing out.
Yeah, whatever it is, it stretches pretty far over there. Oh my god.
Super far.
That is, well,
it's bigger than the GDP of most nations.
Yeah. Yeah, that is rough. And, you know, so that's one little thing. That's one simple little loophole.
That was stumbled upon.
Yeah. How many things are going on like that just everywhere all the time? And I mean, you know, to the back to the immigration conversation in general, is just like it's unsustainable for these sizes of populations to come into all these different countries around the world. And regardless of culture or, you know, that side of the conversation, just from a straight, like, is it sustainable? And lots of men coming from countries where things like work ethic, how they treat women, how they see their community, just a few basic things that don't line up with, one, our culture, but two, with like a productive, healthy society, you can end up, it's just not going to be something that can be sustained. And the amount of, all these people's frustrations, like in UK, other places, where it's just like realizing how much aid and like subsidies are just going towards it. It's not gonna age well. And unfortunately, it does. We see on the flip side, maybe conservative or right side, lots of, the pendulum swinging too far towards hatred for these people groups, right? And so the people who, there's plenty of people out there who are good coming from these places, but then it's just it's just further dividing, further separating, making it harder on everybody. Yeah, and just a correction here. I don't know where I saw the billion number, but it's 14 million is what the official number of the investigation is into Minnesota's Medicaid autism treatment program. And they charged the first person so far with it in the investigation. But pretty crazy. I do think, though, I recently watched Gangs of New York. Oh, yeah. And I do think, like, this is, like, what reframes my view of immigration to kind of what it is currently. But, in Gangs of New York, there's this scene where, like, the Irish, as they step off the boat, are being told to register as a Democrat and enlist in the military. And, like, that's how they will earn their citizenship in the U.S. And, like, they don't spend a minute building their life in New York. As soon as they're off the boat, they're enlisted and they're taken away for, essentially their assignments of like in the army and where they're going to go to like train and stuff and start fighting on the frontier. And it is like, you see that and you're like, okay. And like Gangs of New York is also like a movie that very much goes through like the immigration story of like, there is people who've been here longer who don't like the Irish and they view the Irish as low as they view slaves. But they too were immigrants, right? They too were immigrants at one point. Because then next is coming the Italians, next is coming the Poles. Like, and you can really see like, this is a class like warfare system where the politicians in this movie are using those who have been here for a little while longer as one party and those fresh off the boat as another party. And they're manipulating both to fight amongst themselves. And I see it as like, you're watching it and you're like, man, this really is the, give me you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor, and I will make them vote for who I want
and they will serve as someone in my military to gather what I want. And it just shows like, yes, our country is built off of immigrants. Our country is built off of people who came here looking for a better life that at the time when they came here, they were taken advantage of. And then on the flip side, we have this system where they're being brought here today and they're being taken advantage of politically to become voters for another voter base. Like, I mean, honestly, like if you were from Somalia and you show up to the US and everything is for free, you're probably going to vote for whatever politician wants to keep you getting that free stuff, right?
Especially when you went from like the while like a lot of Americans would feel like they were if you were just living off of food stamps, some disability and some other stuff coming in, you'd feel like you were down and out. If you just came from, you know,
Syria, Somalia,
some other places in the world, you feel like you're made
king,
it.
Bro.
You've arrived, you know, in a lot of ways. And so
especially like, I don't know if you guys saw that where it was pretty, you know, a few weeks ago, there was for some reason this argument from the more left side of the political hemisphere saying, no, they aren't receiving free health care, right? This was during the government shutdown. Everyone was like, they're not receiving free health care. The immigrants aren't receiving it. Like, we need to reopen the government. This is a non-issue. But then people went on the ground and were interviewing people in Chicago, New York, who were here as immigrants in asylums. And they're like, so what kind of benefits are you getting? And like, all of them spoke very openly. They're like, oh, we're getting this much money. We're getting this much in food stamps. The hotel's paid for. And we're also getting this health care, and we're going to, like, we get this much that we get to go to the doctors with. And so they are getting the health care. Like the health care, the immigrants are getting it without being U.S. citizens. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, at this point in time where some of us are paying, I don't know if you saw recently, but some people's health care went up to $3,500 a month for them and their family. How do you reconcile that population who are working, paying taxes, and paying an absorbent amount into healthcare with the population that's coming here with no ties, no investments in the nation? They're not working a job and they're receiving it all for free. Like, there's an insane dissonance and gap between those two. And you might say, like, well, those people who are coming here, they don't have anything yet. They don't have an income yet. They need some support to get off the ground. Okay, but the family that's paying over $3,000 a month just in health insurance also doesn't have anything left afterwards.
Right.
Right.
Not to even mention the massive population of homeless people that we have.
Yeah.
That there's, in some areas, no attempt to get them off the ground at all. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I really do think the rift is just going to keep growing. I think, again, like we talked in the last episode, like about a pendulum swing. I think this is a pendulum swinging the other direction, where for a while there, for a long time, there was like, let all of them in. It's our duty as America to let them in and house them. And I think for a majority, a lot of people were on both sides of the political spectrum, like, yeah, as long as we do it right. And then now it's been abused so hard, and it's so transparent with how much abuse and corruption and scandals there are in it, that now the pendulum is swinging super hard to the other side. And I don't think we're very far behind England's level of protests and outrage over it. You know, I think that's coming soon. I wouldn't be surprised if in a matter of years we have hundreds of thousands of people marching through big city streets saying, get rid of them, deport them.
The difference between us and a lot of places in Europe is that there was a defining end to, like, the influx, right? Like, and it's really hard for me to look at it and be like, how do people not see what has been happening for the last 8 years? Because it's so obvious that the amount of negligence and little care for people that were coming in, that they were just obviously importing a voter base.
Sure.
Like, it's so blatantly obvious, right? Like, when you are turning a blind eye to cartels, like basically funding their entire organizations from the border, and you're just throwing money at NGOs to get as many people in as possible and to get them settled. Like the carelessness in it, you're just like, obviously you're doing something that is not for these people.
Yep.
They are just simply bodies for something else, right?
Yeah. I do think, to that point too, the cities right now that have had the cities and states that have had the highest level of deportation in the U.S. since the ICE raids have been going on, their housing markets are crashing. Their housing markets are going down because now those homes are empty. And they can't find enough buyers, and the state's not paying for those people to be housed there anymore. And so like there's a lot of things here that like people don't realize are connected and layered off of the massive influx of immigrants we've had over the last few years. And a lot of people don't understand like the lack of housing and the cost of housing is directly related to that.
There might be a couple of happy first-time home buyers in those areas right now.
Yeah, sure. If they can afford to get in on someone who's desperate to, sell it because now the property's not being used anymore.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens. It's gonna be a pretty fascinating coming few years. But I really think that some would even say that England, UK, and the rest of Europe are just too far gone. And I would almost agree. The UK is gone.
Yeah, no. The people I talk to there who are English and live there and are like firefighters there, teachers there, they think it's over.
Yeah, yeah, they're done.
But like, what do you do when you have no means? When you have no means for changing the state, right? Like,
it's not just that you have no means; it's that you can't even speak out against the state.
Yeah.
Like you can't do anything. Yeah, they're toast. They're just fucked. And we got really close.
I think we're still close. I think we're still close to like a massive. I'm not a doomerism. I don't believe in like we're close to a civil war, but I do think we're close to losing the means. And authority as a population to stop the government from overreaching like that.
Well, the first thing that you lose as a population is your voice. Like once you lose your voice and that's like set in stone and your people just roll over and let it happen, like you're boned.
Yeah.
And we got really close to that specifically, where you find out that your federal government is directly impeding and preventing social media companies from allowing particular groups of people from speaking entirely, right?
Not to mention, what was it, like majority of the state government's accounts on Twitter recently were found out to be based in Israel. Did you guys not see that? Twitter X enabled location to see where the account is registered in the location, and then they disabled it really quick because a ton of accounts were based in foreign nations, and they were based in like Africa, India, and Israel. And like,
what was really the beauty of that was just very quickly finding out that somebody was just a fucking bot, just rage baiting people in comment sections.
But that's the thing, is like, it was like the Department of Homeland Security X account was based in Israel. Like that's more than just a bot.
And that's also not going to help the divide.
No,
and
not
what
at all.
People think about certain groups of people.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not going to help with quenching out any of the narratives. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I will say one thing I found that I take a lot of pleasure in lately. This YouTube channel called Culture Swap.
Okay.
And it's just one white friend and one black friend. And they're T-Bone and Solo. T-Bone's the white friend, Solo's the black friend.
They just like hang out in the parking lot and stuff, hang out in front of motels. Is that the guys are talking about?
Kind of. So okay. T-Bone and Solo have their own channel where they do like long form videos, but they have Culture Swap, which is just shorts where they're like, hey, I'm taking my black friend to do white people shit, and then I'm taking my white friend to do black people shit. And today we're going to go get a Christmas tree. And he takes his black friend out to like cut down a Christmas tree and stuff. And his black friend's like $100 for a Christmas tree. Like, and then Solo takes T-Bone to like a black Thanksgiving. And like he brings some of his mom's food to the Thanksgiving and all the black people just trash on it. And like, but it's wholesome. It's loving. It's like two cultures blending together in like a very harmonious way and like out of love and kindness. I have one here that I just see like on my feed. I'm going to watch later, but it's like they're building gingerbread houses. And I'm like, that'll be awesome, dude. Like, but it's a great one, you know. But it just shows like I truly do like back to our point of like America having a culture. Like that's American culture, I think, is like is recognizing differences and then inviting people to partake in them and like partaking it in a way that is like, yes, maybe intimidating at first, but is done out of like love and kindness to share culture with one another. And that's like, you know, a quote unquote like melting pot, right? That's
All I can say
melting pot example
is that they're not having sweet potato pies and buffalo chicken wings in other countries. Okay.
Amen, brother.
No kidding, dude. Golly, they're not. That's like I was telling someone this, and people like don't like it, but I was talking to some friends who like to travel and eat food different places, and I was like, you know, honestly, whenever I travel abroad, I'm so happy to come home and eat the food here. And they're like, oh, you know, but French and their bread, and I'm like, yes, I know, but like, there's a couple places in the world that do have good specific foods. Also, here is better. In general, it's just like, you ever had a chicken fried steak, like a real good one with gravy on it? It's healing.
What I do appreciate is that there is good food from everywhere here. And it might not be the best, but there is good food. Like this is just a small example, and this was really a perspective shift. When I was in Germany, and this marketing guy that we work with there, that's like in his 60s or something, I was like, and he's real German proud, right? And he just thinks they're just like top fucking tier, like Germans just do everything better than everyone else in the world. Yeah. And I was like, and what's your least favorite kind of food? And he's like, honestly, I really don't like Mexican food. And I was like, well, do you guys have any like good restaurants here? And he's like, oh, there's that place that you went to the last time that you were here. That's probably the best Mexican food I've had here in Germany. And I was like, funny you say that, because that's probably the worst Mexican food I've ever had in my life. And I was like, if you ever come to the US, we'll get you some good Mexican food. Yeah. All right. Like, and it's not going to be the best Mexican food, but like there is some really good Mexican food here. Yeah.
100%, dude. Like I do think the best Korean food I've ever had was here. Like I think the best.
Well, what my boss, who's Korean, the best Korean food he's ever had is in Vietnam. Like it's not even Korean. He's like, the Vietnamese make better Korean food
I believe that.
The Koreans do.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, it is kind of interesting, you know, like you can when it's done right, you can have a really successful blend of, you know, the American dream with cultures, and then everyone gets to partake in that. When it's not done right, it sucks. And it looks a lot like England. But anyways, Ken, thanks for joining us. Another kind of hot topic across the world episode, but we're always happy to have Dean join us and give another perspective. Yeah, I would say, you know, don't be doomerist. It's not the end of the world. Don't resign and say it's over. Like, this is not the worst it's ever been. World's going to keep on turning. But, you know, that doesn't mean there's not shit that we don't have to fix. Sure. Right? Stand up and let your voice be heard. So, with that, my guest, Dean, any final words? Anything you got closing wise?
The only thing I've got, something I was thinking about yesterday, is how up in arms people generally get about federal politics, but for the most part, how little it actually affects their day-to-day life. Go out and get some freaking air.
Yeah.
For sure.
Get involved in local stuff too. Become the next mayor.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and just to close this out, I want to tell you guys about the other day I was I was shaving my balls.
Oh yeah.
And usually I just stay up high, just get the bush, I just knock it down.
Keep stuff from getting in the zipper.
But I was kind of like just like kind of OCD cleaning, getting them all, and I got a little rambunctious.
Oh God,
with the tremors, man.
Did you nick yourself?
And right where the nuts meet the shaft,
yeah,
where the coin purse zipper comes up along there,
the webbing.
Yeah, so there's a little ridge, kind of right there, just a little higher skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the sausage in one hand up, and I went straight down from the top down, and it was electric trimmer, and dude.
Did you fillet yourself?
Dude, it hurt. I was like, oh, that hurt. I was like, dang, and I was like, just put the razor down. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm looking down there. I don't see any like blood or anything. Like, okay, we're good. Like, gosh, that hurts. Like 10 more seconds go by, still no blood. Then it started bleeding. Yeah. And you all know if it takes a while to bleed,
it's a bleeder.
It's kind of scary. So it starts bleeding. I look down and there's like this, like, since we're talking about Europe so much, I'd say there's like 2 centimeters of a dangly string coming off my nuts.
Oh my God.
And in fear, I pulled it, but that was skin, and then it was bad, dude.
You unzip yourself? You gave yourself a second snip?
I for real unzipped myself right at the top of the coin purse,
bro.
And it was.
Are you having to like wear padding?
It was, luckily,
to let that heal?
The scrotal skin heals rather quickly.
It does heal rather quickly.
But I was afraid to get a boner because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. You're really going to tug on it.
But so all I have to say, if you stuck with us till the end there, that's a little
you got a
nugget
little
for you guys on
too.
that one.
Yeah.
And till next time, folks. Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.